Nothing? I feel like I'm always doing this jog on the camera. I said, I feel like I'm always jogging around on the camera to look at what I need to see. It shows connecting, and it just shows connected now. Oh, good. I feel like I'm up on Twitch also. Oh, that's because you're not a subscriber. So if you're on Twitch and you're getting a commercial, you're not a subscriber. So if you want those commercials to go away, you'll need to be a subscriber. Oh, interesting. Okay. So maybe it's not true. Maybe you're still getting commercials and you're a subscriber. So we'll see. Hi, Kim. Are you breaking from work? I see you on there. I can actually see the chat screen right now. Not that I can completely pay attention while I'm doing this, but I actually have a new app that shows me the the chat for both. So I see that Kim's on and she says hi. I can see, oh yes, I see it on Twitch. I see it on Facebook, yes. Still sewing masks, huh, Cheryl? Okay, so it's 1 o'clock and let me see, double checking something here. Hi Pam, hi Gail. Okay, it's 1 o'clock and so excited. We're here. This is Q Talk Live. I'm Q Fom Gray, and we are going to start step-by-step surprise today. It's going to be the first project in a series of I don't know how many, but again, I'm pretty excited for it. So I wanted to talk really quickly about how this is going to go because it's the first one and we haven't done it before. So the premise of this is that you had to get a kit to follow along, and the kit is blind, so you don't even know what you're getting in the kit. You only had a choice between or copper or silver, and then some of the kits you got a choice of a stone, some you didn't get a choice of a stone. And anyway, so you had to guess as to what it is. So this is also two sessions. So we'll do this again next week. And this week we're just going to do a few of the steps. And if you again had purchased a kit, you should have gotten an email last evening with all the materials and the tools that you need for today. What's going to happen is I will go through some of that and leave some of it vague because, again, it's a surprise and it's for everybody who ordered a kit. If you didn't order a kit, you still actually have a little time to get a kit and finish it up for next week. And so the instructions, when I'm done here, it'll probably take me about an hour or so because we also have a Zoom session after this to get you the written instructions for all of the steps from today. And then next week, I will send you the written instructions after the session of everything combined together so that you don't have to, save piecemealed instructions and put it together. So it'll be all together for you. And also, no, there will not be a picture of the project. In today's instructions either. You won't get a picture of the project till next week, but then you won't need a picture of the project until next week because you'll have it done, right? Supposedly. Anyway, so I wanted to also point out a couple things before we really jump into this is I am doing a Zoom directly after this. I need about 5-8 minutes to prep in between the two sessions. I'm going to do a Zoom to talk about alternate torches. So if you would like to participate in that Zoom, please just send Q Talk on Facebook a message so that we can send you the Zoom link. No, we do not publish our Zoom links publicly because of spammers. It's been a problem, not for me, but I understand it is a problem, and that is something that we want to avoid. So if you want to participate in that Zoom session, do go ahead and send us a message now on Q Talk, and when we're done, Andy has that link and he will send that off to everybody. Okay, so it should make it a little bit easy for everyone to get in on it. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, what else going on? It is Wednesday. Oh, yeah, so something that sort of came up today, I want to mention that it literally came up like 20 minutes ago. I want to throw that out there, and I'm going to throw it out again next Monday. But so we're going to be at week 10 next week. Wow, 2.5 months of doing this. This is great. And we've been doing Minimal Metal Monday, where the premise is always about the Minimal Metal book that was published a couple months ago. And everything in of these projects were either 16 or 18 gauge wire with some jump rings. And we were able to create all these projects with just that. So I was thinking maybe we should step it up and go to Minimal Metal Part 2 and stretch ourselves to square wire. My obsession with square wire continues, so maybe we call it Minimal Metal Squared. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I would love some feedback on it. There's so many of you who've been watching all 10 weeks. Maybe you are ready to move on with me. Maybe you're not. Let me know and we'll take a consensus, and maybe we'll do a combination of the square and round wire. And but anyway, so if you've been taking classes or been following along with me for the last couple of years, I have a complete obsession with square wire, and a lot of the work that I've been putting out involves somehow or another square wire. So let's see. Let me know. Anyway, okay. So because of the new system that we're on, and hopefully you like it and you see my new logo, is that good? Anyway, so because of the new system we're on, we cannot post any links until the session is done. And when it's done, then I can put it into the description of the videos. Okay. And also, if you want to watch, this is loaded a week later on YouTube. Sorry, I forgot week 8. I just loaded it this morning. But anyway, so it's loaded up there. But if you want any of the links that will get you to the kit or get you to the tools, it will be listed after the sessions are done. Again, it is a system thing that I can't seem to get around right now. But in any case, you could always find this stuff on theurbanbeater.com, and there are some link backs from qfarmgray.com. If you visited my personal site, I do put a lot of information up there too. Okay, all right, so let's get started. I'm sorry, honey, what did you say? No, I don't have to show work to multiple cameras anymore, as we are down to 2 cameras, one looking at me and the other one down here. Yay! So you can so I don't have to fuss around with cameras anymore, hopefully. And I'm moving that incorrectly. I should leave that there. Okay, so let's go over what you have. Okay, in your kit you should have received some square wire and some jump rings. And depending on whether or not you got the silver kit or the copper kit, you would have received a bezel cup and a stone and some daisy spacers. I have it in the plastic bag here because it's so small I'm going to lose them. And this is the alternate to the stone, is the large daisy spacer. So if you got copper on that, you didn't get a stone, you would have gotten a large daisy spacer. But that's it. It was actually a very, very simple kit. Decided that this first project should be easy. Just get you guys warmed up for the next one. The next one, trust me, it's going to be a lot harder. Oh, I know. It's an evil laugh, but okay. So you will need today a bench block, maybe a ruler, maybe not. That's sort of up to you. Some chain nose pliers. lots of chain nose pliers actually. So any of these will do. I have a bent nose, just a regular chain nose, and I have a parallel plier, all of which will work. You do need a couple of them because we're going to be twisting wire today, okay? And a heavy duty cutter, because the wire is pretty heavy, and these small Lindstroms or any small cutter is just not going to be enough for you today. So you do need a heavy duty cutter, a ring mandrel. If you don't have a ring mandrel, you can also use a dowel rod, and it's a 5/8 dowel rod. You can go to a 3/4 inch dowel rod. There is enough metal for you to go to 3/4 inch if you want to, or you can even go smaller, okay? If you go smaller than 5/8, it's going to be a little bit more challenging because the metal is so heavy, but you can definitely go smaller. So you need to sort of decide whether or not you like things petite or you like things bolder, okay? You'll need a file, a metal file, and a leather mallet of some sort. Any size will do for this one. Maybe some steel wool, and maybe a brass brush. You will definitely need a solder kit, meaning torch and fire tweezers and all that good stuff to make this happen, okay? Oh, solder. Of course you need solder. So if you're using the silver wire, do have hard, medium, and easy silver solder, whether it's paste or chip or whatever, that works. If you're doing the copper, you will need copper solder. Okay, I'm going to do a combination of both just because I can today. Remember this project, because the metal is so heavy, annealing is going to be your friend. If you don't want to fight it, you do want to anneal it. So I'm going to start off with a my first piece of wire. I'm going to anneal it because I'm going to twist it, and I cut this at about almost 3 inches. It's about 2 3/4 inches really. So anywhere between 2 3/4 inches to 3 inches, depending on how big and how bold you want to make it. 2.5 makes it around your 5/8 dowel rod, but it doesn't give you much room to play with. So I always like to give myself just a little margin for error. All right, so let's go ahead and anneal this. Okay, I actually remembered to turn on my pickle pot today, so this is a good thing. But I'm just going to heat it till it starts changing colors. I don't want this too red because I don't want to reticulate the the metal. Okay, and you know, I'm going to get rid of my coffee cup. It's a coffee cup, but it's not coffee, just to let you know. Okay, so I've annealed the silver. I'm going to set that aside, and you know what, I'm going to go ahead, since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and anneal the copper also. Because we're going to be bending and it's such a heavy piece of metal, you want to go ahead and anneal it. Trust me, it just makes your life a lot easier. If you're doing the silver kit, you definitely need to anneal it or you're going to cry, and then you might not come back next week, which is not good. So make sure that you anneal it. Alright, so here we're going to anneal it just like so until it has a nice color change, and then I'm going to quench it. Again, you don't want to get it so red that you're reticulating the metal or melting, okay? That's a bad thing. As always, my quench bowl is on the side along with my pickle. I'm not going to bother pickling this at this point because it's going to have to get annealed again before we solder. So, and you know me, I'm a little lazy on that. Okay, so I'm going to show you more than one way to twist the wire. Okay, I'm going to cut this one also, the copper, into a 2 3/4 inch piece, and I'm going to show you twice how to twist it. So the first way to twist it is manually. So I like to use a parallel plier because of how it holds on to the wire. It's not going to kink it on one end because it's clamping evenly on my wire. So I'm going to hold it on that, and then I'm going to take out another pair of chain nose pliers, and I'm simply going to twist it. And I'm sort of pulling on it not to let it scrunch up. And look at that. It is going to twist very nicely. And notice I didn't worry about the fact that my wire was not straight because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of this too. So how much do you twist it? That's sort of up to you. It's still a surprise. You know, some people like things more twisted than others. I'm going to do it just about there. Let's see, can you see that? Yeah, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And another thing too is because I twisted it, it's really hard already. So this will definitely have to get annealed. So I'm going to set that aside. And now I'm going to show you how to do it on a flex shaft. Okay. You can do this on the end of a drill also. It's about the collet. If your collet doesn't get down small enough to clamp onto the wire, you will not be able to use whatever drill you have. So I'm going to put it right here in. I'm going to put it right here into my flex shaft. I'm turning that down to it's fairly small, and then I'm going to put this in. I like to get it as close as I can so that it's not wobbling around when I go to tighten it. There we go. Okay. Actually, I don't like it all the way in because it's a waste of wire. So put it in like so, clamp it, and I'm going to move it to a second position and clamp it there. Okay, cool. So again with my parallel pliers. Okay, if you're doing this, please make sure you're wearing some sort of goggle or eye protection, because if this runs away from you, then it might just hit you. The first time I did this, literally, it ran out of my pliers and it hit me and almost took off my nose. So be careful doing this. All right, I'm gonna reach over here. Let's see. And gently go. Oops, my foot pedal's too far away. See, there it goes. And notice, oops, it already got hard on me and my flex shaft doesn't want to finish this up. Okay, if it does that, so notice how just a little bit twisted it, and the wire's already hard and it doesn't want to twist anymore. So you can go ahead and take this out and anneal it again, which is fine because I'm going to anneal both pieces again. Let's pull that back. Since the copper needed to be annealed anyway, we're going to anneal both of these pieces at the same time, using efficient use of fuel, right? Okay, so again, because it's sterling silver, it's a little harder to work with. The metal is harder than copper. But you can see my copper is twisted a little bit more than my silver. Okay, but you can stop here if you want. I'm going to twist it a little bit more. I like it a little more twisted. Okay. Put it back in the flex shaft. Like so, and twist. So even though you don't have a kit, hopefully you're picking up some tips along the way anyway, like twisting wire. See, there it goes. Good. Okay, that's good. Again, this is a really heavy piece of metal, and it's going to take a bit to do it. There it is. Okay, so again, this is pretty hard. I'm going to anneal one more time. Do you need to pickle in between annealing? Some people like to. Personally, I'm way too lazy for that. I don't personally see the point of pickling in between annealing. So unless somebody can come up with a scientific reason why, I don't until I need to. Okay. Alright. Quench that. Set that aside. So now you're going to make 3 rings. Okay, again, the size of the ring is sort of up to you. You can go bigger than the 5/8 if you want, and you can go smaller. But if you go smaller than the 5/8, remember, this is going to be harder for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just do it on my, do I want to do it on my, I don't want to do it on my ring mandrel. I'm going to do it on here. Okay, and I'm going to just bend this around. The key here when you're using square wire is to ensure that the wire is on the same plane, that you're not twisting this wire in any way. So if you're looking down on it like right now, you can see that the flat edge is to the one of the flat edges is to the mandrel and the other one is facing up. Okay, and because we need to make more than one, you need to make two rings here. I'm going to go ahead and go around twice, just like so. Okay, and I'm going to go just past it. You see this wire is sitting up, so let's just push it down, just like so. Okay, so then you're going to cut it, and I'm just going to cut one because I already have a second one made. So you see that I have a flat edge there, no big deal. I'm just going to bend it down like so. I'll reshape this later. Okay, so with the twisted wire you'll make another ring, and again I'm going to do silver because I'm going to make a bicolor piece here. I know, no fair, huh? So I'm just bending it around, and this wire of course is going to get really hard because it's silver and it's twisted and it's and. So if your hands are not strong enough to do what I'm doing, you may need to kneel it in the middle of bending also. So that's not a problem. Okay, so I'm going to cut this twice because I have a Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Oh my gosh. Oi. Okay. Well, good, I didn't do much. Okay, so what I was saying was because I have 2 flat edges here, one on each side, I'm going to go ahead and cut in between. Normally I would cut right at one of the ends and not waste, but because I have flat edges on the twist, I want to cut that twist off. So remember, when you're using a pair of cutters, the flat side is always going to face the side that you're keeping. Okay? Turn this over and cut over here. Okie dokie. There we are. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, 3 rings. Set that aside. Now the next thing you want to do, because it's square wire, you want to work really hard on this joint, and you want to make sure that the ends are perfect. If you have any burrs in there or anything like that, you want to take it out. So I'm going to take the time and I'm going to file it really well. There's a slight burr in there. And remember, when you're filing, you don't want to file up in the air. You want to put your hands on the table. Okay? And then move it together like a jump ring. And here's a trick. I'm going to put the joint into my pliers and I'm going to squeeze down. And look, it brings it together perfectly. Okay? So you want to make sure that you have a nice joint. You don't really want to worry too much about the shape because we'll reshape it later. And I'm feeling to make sure that all the edges are together. And I'm going to prep that for, there we go. Set that one aside. This one is close. Okay, so notice on this one, I don't know if you can tell, but it's slightly torqued, right? I'm okay with that. I'm going to flatten this after I solder it, but I do want to make sure that the flat edges are flat to each other. Okay, it's okay that the entire ring is sort of torqued. That will flatten out. Okay, so make sure that's together, and now I'm going to do the silver twisted one. So I didn't even think about doing this in a bicolor until this morning as I was pulling all the materials together. And but anyway, so I just thought it was sort of fun. Alright, again, I'm moving this together like a jump ring. Okay, and you want to make sure it's perfect. I know you will want to twist it so that it looks continuous. You can get it there. You just have to sit here and sort of play with it to make the twists come together and seem continuous. Okay, it might take a little extra filing, but you will be rewarded for this. Okay, so now I'm going to solder it. A little bit of copper solder. There we go. So for everybody who's joining us a little bit late, there is a Zoom session after this about an alternate torch to your butane torch. If you would like to participate, do send us a message on QTalk on Facebook, and we will send you the Zoom link. All right, so just a little bit of solder on each joint. Heat it. Right there, it's copper, so I'm just going to heat right on the joint, like so, and watch it flow. We're good. Is it good? It's good. Okay. And then on this side. And because it's copper, I don't have to move the torch around. I'm just going to stay right there. And then I'm going to do the silver. The rings, you do want them to be the same size, although it could be sort of eclectic. You could make the two first rings a little bit smaller, but that third ring needs to be a little bit bigger if you want to vary the sizes. I did not pickle this because I filed in the middle, so I don't have to worry about fire scale there. And I'm going to grab some hard solder. So if you're doing this with silver, you will be using hard solder to close all of the rings. Okay. Again, you can make this a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller depending on how you want it to be, if you want it to be bold or not. Another thing you can do too, maybe you really like this twisted wire. I'm trying to get solder here if you're wondering what I'm doing. If you really like the twisted wire, you can twist all of the wire and make all of the rings twisted. It was just sort of a design option. okay? And it was just a bit of a design option to have the two different textures. I like to play with texture a lot, so I like to combine the twist and the plain and all that good stuff. You could also do this, sort of complicates things a little bit, by doing two pieces of wire and twisting two pieces of wire together instead of just one piece. I'm sorry, Andy, you had a question? I don't necessarily, the question somebody just asked is, do I prefer the tripod and mesh over the solder board? If so, why? I don't exactly have a preference. Quite frankly, I'm at this point using the tripod more so because it brings me up a little closer to the camera and it allows you to see what it is I am doing. So that's a lot of why I'm using the tripod right now. Okay, and I've been using the tripod the last couple times. So this is silver. I'm heating the whole thing, and then I'm going to heat right at the joint. Remember, get everything hot and right at the joint, and I'm using there it is. I'm using hard solder. Okay, so back to the tripod and the versus the board. It's a lot of times it's whatever's closest to me. If this is closest to me, that's what I use. I am that kind of person. Okay, so everything right now is pickling. Can you use a smaller gauge wire? Yes, you can, Yvonne. I see your question. You can. But if you're going to go with anything lighter than what you have in the kit, you will you'll want to make smaller rings. Okay, and it just I'm looking at the sample off over here to the left, and it occurred to me, you know what? If I pull the sample in, the surprise is gone. So tricky, people, tricky. All right, so I am pickling over here on the side. We're going to rinse it. There we go. And dry it. So I'm going to pickle this a little longer. All right. Okay, so the ring that was torqued, I'm going to flatten that. Okay, and you can see, if I do this, you can see that it's not flat. Like so. And it'll flatten out pretty easily. See, notice it's not moving anywhere. Okay, so once you have that flattened, put it back in your mandrel. The ring mandrel is nice for this. And let's see. And make sure that you, oops, make it round again. I don't know why I'm making it round now that I think about it. You don't need to make it round. Yeah, you don't need to make it round, because the next step, we're going to make these into ovals. Hold on. I'm going to grab the silver one out. The twisted one. There we are. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now that it's flat, this one can be flattened a little bit. I'm going to make these into ovals. A couple ways you can do that, okay? First way is to pull out the bow opening pliers, which I forgot to mention earlier. That's something that it's optional, but you can use it. Oops. I'm trying to pull it apart this way. It doesn't work that way. Bow opening pliers work in the opposite. So if you squeeze it, it pulls it open like so. And what you want is you want your join or your seam to be in the middle. You don't want it to be on the side here. You want it to be in the middle here. Okay? And I'm just gonna stretch that out. They make nice ovals and it's nice and even, as you can see. If you don't have a bow opening plier, you can definitely do it by just hammering it down like so. I will have links posted afterwards for all these tools if you need them. Okay, so here what you'll do is you'll just move it down until you get an oval. If you don't have any of those, the other thing you can do is you can use a pair of long nose pliers, because quite frankly, for something this big, you might not be able to get this stretch. Yeah, see, like it doesn't stretch quite all the way. So I like to use my long nose pliers. So I'll put it in here. And again, you want to make sure that the seam is on the side of the oval, like so. Actually, the first two, yep, like so. And I'm just going to stretch it out. This works the same as the bow opening, but it's so much easier when you have the bow opening pliers. And I want to make sure it's about the same, which is good. Okay, so this one is a little bit not the same shape as the other one, so check this out. I'm going to stretch it back out the other way, the opposite way, so that my shapes are the same. Coolness, look at that. Okay, there we are. Okay, so you want them to be even and you want them to be flat. Okay, so the next step is we're going to sand these. All right, because it's square wire in particular, for me anyway, I like my joins to be really clean. So you can pull out some sandpaper. At this point, sort of don't care what it is. It can be 400 or 500 or 600, doesn't matter. And I'm going to sand these seams down. I'm really taking time and care to ensure that these seams are really nice, okay? Because I want them to disappear. I don't want to see them. I find them a bit unsightly. So, and another thing too, if for some reason I'm not paying attention, especially if I'm working with silver, because you can, a lot of times it sort of disappears and you stop paying attention, and the seam shows up in some visible place instead of hiding behind something. And notice I'm also doing this flat to the sandpaper to make sure that all edges are nice and even. Okay, almost there. There we are. Nice and flat. This one can use a little bit more. Like so. Okay. So once that's all done, we're going to solder it. You'll take the time out. Oh, actually no, you're not going to take the time out to do anything with this one. You know, I'm in this habit of wanting to clean everything. So, but you do not need to clean the twisted one, the third one. Okay, so now I'm going to actually switch out to the solder board because my mesh is wonky. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder the two ovals together. All right, and I'm actually going to go ahead and put the seams facing one another. All right, and I want also that the ovals are nice and even when I do that. If you're using silver, you're going to go to medium solder here, and if you're doing copper, you're just going to use copper solder. And I've lost my stick pin again. Okay, so copper solder. Just a little bit there, not a ton. Okay, the more you use, the sloppier this becomes. So just a little bit, and we're just going to tack this together. I'm going to heat everything to ensure that it is even, and then I'm going to heat. Notice I'm moving in between the two joints. If you're doing copper, you got to get, I'm sorry, if you're doing silver, you need to get everything really nice and evenly heated. There it is. So did you see? I think you can actually see at this point with how the video is going that the solder did flow and it made a connection in between both of those. All right. And quench that, and let's pickle. Okay, so that is it for today. It is, like I said, this first one is really simple, really easy, and it's going to be a nice result. And we'll put it all together next week. All those pieces that you have will be put together next week. So let's see what it looks like. We'll come out of the pickle here in a second. Remember, my pickle pot's on the side. Give it another second there. It's nice and hot. Again, if you want to join us on the Zoom, do message us and we will send you a link. Sorry? So your joint came undone. Potentially the pieces were not sitting together. So go ahead, if you see solder there, okay, go ahead and pickle it and put some flux on it and heat it again. Make sure that the pieces are together. Now, when you say that your pieces didn't solder together, it's the two rings together, not the joints, right? Just looks like, and you don't. Oh. Okay. I'm sorry again, Andy, what's the question? The joints. Okay, so if these two rings didn't come together, okay, then the rings probably were not touching. So you want to make sure that you that the two rings are touching together. If you can actually see solder there, then again, just put some flux on it, heat it up, and it should move. The other reason why, if it didn't solder together, maybe you didn't have enough solder. Okay, so the ring. Okay, so the question is, her ring didn't stay together, so when she went to make it oval, it split open. Okay, so work the joint back together at this point and make sure that that they're nice and tight. Okay, maybe you didn't file enough and maybe there wasn't enough surface for it to solder onto. So here, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but for me they're slightly off, and even though it's soldered, I can still fix this. Okay, so should you clean up the joint between the rings? It should be, yes, it should be clean when you went to solder it. Okay, so here I'm gonna stretch this one out a little bit this way to make it not as oval. There it is. Okay, so there we go. So that's it. So you should have at this point a 3 rings, a twisted one and 2 that are soldered together. Okay. Okay, so any other questions? Did that help you, Kim, to get your ring together? Yes, you can. So to Gail's question, should you clean up the joint between the rings, either filing or sandpaper? Yes. Well, I like to clean it up because I want this to be a really nice tight fit. So I'll file it or sand it depending on how much was there. But if you had worked the rings together perfectly like so, then there's not really much cleanup, if any at all. But you know, I also have a tendency to, when I'm filing or sanding, I just file everything and make a habit of it. It's a thing. Okay, so just as a reminder, message me on Q Talk for the Zoom link. So that is the easiest way to get that link over to you. I see some people are asking for the link. Again, send me a message on the Q Talk Facebook page. Okay. So that's it for today. There is a Zoom session on Friday for basic soldering. If you'd like to join, whether kit or not, you can join just the Zoom. You can register on the urbanbeater.com. Otherwise, I will see everybody on Monday for Minimal Metal Monday, and we are doing the crosshatch earrings on Monday. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to give you guys a second for any other messages. I know that there is a lag and a delay, and for everybody else who's joining me on Zoom this afternoon, I need about 5 or 8 minutes to switch over and also see the ladies' room for a minute, and you know, that kind of thing. Freshen up, put on more lip gloss. I don't know, something. Okay, we're good. Oh, is it really a holiday this weekend? Why do I keep forgetting Monday's Memorial Day? I'm still going to see you on Memorial Day. What are we doing for the holiday? Oh, look, we're sheltering. Ha! We're still in. I know not everybody is here with us. Some of your states have opened up, but we are not officially opened up yet. But we're going to remain in and going out to hiking and whatnot. So that would be us. Okay. All right, so I think that's it. I don't see any other messages, and I am going to end this and see you on Zoom in a few.